Alrighty guys, we're back for Is It Goblins, and this is a Foundation Standard Brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, this was a suggestion down in the comments. So thank you so much for the suggestion, it's gonna be a fun one. So why go Is It Goblins? Well, we got Mockingbird in here as a 3-of. This is an X and a blue, 1/1 flyer. And you may have it enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield with mana value less than or equal to the amount of mana spent to cast Mockingbird, except it's a bird in addition to its other types, and it still has flying as well. Cool stuff, man. We got some great goblins that we would not mind copying with Mockingbird at all, like Rundvelt Hordemaster. 2 mana 1/1, other goblins you control get +1/+1. Awesome. And then whenever this or another goblin you control dies, exile the top card of your library. If it's a goblin card, you may cast that card until the end of your next turn. So how many goblins do we have packed in? We have 23 total goblins, so a pretty decent chance, I guess, to actually see a goblin on that ability. Another goblin we wouldn't mind copying with the Mockingbird is a similar concept to the Hordemaster, right? Dropkick Bomber is a 3 mana 2/3. Other goblins you control get +1/+1. Awesome. And then also, for 1 red mana until end of turn, another target goblin you control gains flying, and when this creature deals combat damage, sacrifice it. So kind of you kind of want to win that turn because there's not too many goblins in here that enjoy being sacrificed. But yeah, given something flying, getting over a board state of blockers, yeah, not half bad, honestly. Got a couple squees here on the top end as well. That'll do the thing. Also have a 1-of Fugitive Codebreaker. Kind of feels a little bit underplayed sometimes whenever we look at Fugitive Codebreaker, but only a 1-of this time. It was really hard to fit everything that I actually wanted in here, you know? We have 4 Searslicer Goblins. Speaking of goblins that don't mind being copied by the Mockingbird, huh? It's a 2 mana 2/1. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack this turn, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token, which is hopefully just like every turn, right? There's other cards in here that really like us to be attacking too, and another reason to try Is It out, right? Better card draw. So Chart Course made the cut. 2 mana sorcery, draw 2 cards, then discard a card unless you attacked this turn. Not half bad, huh? And we might as well go over the last blue card of the deck list too. We have 3 Unsummon packed in for a bit of tempo, but then also, every now and then, you might protect your own creature with an Unsummon. You never know. You have more goblins. Of course, we have all 4 Cacophony Scamps. Beautiful stuff. We have all 4 Exuberant Fuselings as well. Yeah, not half bad, honestly. I'm not going to take the time to go over it right now, though. A 4 Monstrous Rage. Now, here's a card we don't see very often. I should totally read this one, right? Over the mana base, guys, we're leaning heavily red. That's what the deck is leaning towards, but we still have a lot of blue sources here, especially in our early land with the Reef and the Canal. Also got Cavern of Souls. Calling kitty cats? Elves? No, goblins, more often than not. I guess there might be a rare scenario where you actually call bird for the Mockingbird or something, but yeah. Also a couple of Peculiar Lighthouse as well. Mainly because I wanted more dual lands. Like, I can't imagine these being islands and that being very effective, you know what I mean? No honorable mentions this time. Let me know down in the comments what at the very least should have made the honorable mentions. Maybe like a Krenko or something should have been over here, right? Alright guys, I do my D&Ds to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, did I talk about Dragon Fodder? Yeah, we have ways to go wide with goblins with Dragon Fodder. Anyways, guys, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, and see how we do. Right into that first game. What am I expecting from the build? I think it's going to be decent, but it took quite a few... It took me a while to land on this version of the deck list. And the test games were rough. So at this point, though, I think it's going to be decent. First of all, this hand looks really good, doesn't it? We're going to keep this. Yeah, we'll see what happens. You just never know sometimes. Okay, Canal comes down. Fuseling. Get that oil counter. Alright, it is a Sunken Citadel from the opponent. Start with the swing. See what happens to our Fuseling. Nothing happens to our fusing. At that point, Searslicer Goblin's a little better than the Dragon Fodder, right? Dropkick Bomber next turn. It's a great curve, dude. Really, really is. Cacophony Scamp. So with the 2 mana open, I can imagine it's going to be removal for the Dropkick Bomber or a counterspell, but that's not going to stop us from trying. It lands. Let's see if it's just a Get Lost or something. Which is a Get Lost that isn't hitting our Searslicer Goblin, so actually it's just not bad. Wow, we get that damage through? Maybe it's a board wipe then. I mean, this would be a great board to wipe for the opponent, huh? It's a Day of Judgment. No, we can restock. We got this, guys. We got this. Using abilities, doing nothing. Ooh, another Cacophony Scamp. Lighthouse coming down untapped. How do we want to restock and how are we playing into the next board wipe, right? I think we'll go Cacophony Scamp. I hope this is okay. I hope this is okay, guys. The truth of the matter is, if it's a second board wipe anyways, we're in danger regardless of how we play it out, right? Ah, it's a split up. No, opponent. All right, let's get him down to 10, and we need to see some more goblins off the top. Squee or something, right? Uh-oh, it's a cavern. We'll play it, call Goblin. Play our Dragon Fodder. We're not necessarily out of this yet, but we're probably out of this. Beza. Oh, crap, dude. Mana off the top. Brutal. All right, guys. I'm pretty sure we're out of this. Let's see how long it takes for the opponent to establish something decent on the board and then potentially concede if they can't do that. Jace. Okay. They go for the -2 mil. Do they swing with the Beza? They do not swing with the Beza. Okay, Fuseling isn't bad. At least it's not more land. But guys, we're going to try to get as many games in as possible today. So, drop the GGs. Drop the concede. First loss of the evening. Last loss of the evening. Now we're going to go on a full... now we're going to go on a full win streak. 6 wins in a row. Let's do this. So, could we have played around the Day of Judgment a little bit there to help us out? Maybe. It's the double board wipes, right? That's what gets us. If you play around it, they still get like a 3-for-1 at some point. We only played 3 of those creatures, but we had 5 creatures thanks to the Searslicer Goblin, which generates a lot of value. So yeah, all we really did was 1, 2, 3. They dropped the Day of Judgment. Opponent goes first. I like the hand. I think we'll easily see the 3rd when it comes time. But if we don't see the 3rd, taking a couple turns in a row for 2 mana Mockingbird to copy the Searslicer Goblin, that actually sounds really good, right? We'll go ahead and pause until the opponent shows up. All right, the opponent has arrived. Let's keep this. It's our planes. Get that Fuseling down. Hopefully it's not something similar that will also have a Day of Judgment right on time, you know? Oh dear. It's our carrot cake. Ah, crap, bro. I really wish we went first here. Here's our chance to make up for not completely playing around the board wipe last time. I still don't... I don't know if there were really great options to play around that board wipe, but this is our chance. Okay. Island comes down. We could also go, like... We could go Fuseling, Mockingbird the Fuseling. Doesn't seem as great, though, right? It's a really good trade for the opponent, unfortunately, guys. So we just have to, like... play Searslicer and have a little bit of patience. And maybe next turn we can unsummon their 1 token and get that swing in and then start going wide with the Searslicer Goblin and maybe try to be a little bit more cautious about our more valuable cards for now. They got a lay down arms for the Searslicer. Oh no, that's not good. They do pass it back. A Dragon Fodder is pretty good against these builds, right? Anything that helps us maintain that wide board state. So we'll get Fuseling number 2 down. You know what? Maybe it will be Mockingbird. Yeah, the exile effects that are in mono white mid-range are going to be pretty rough because, of course, they don't help us boost the Fuseling. But it's also going to be one of our worst matchups anyways because of all the 1/1s that are packed in. Yeah, I'm just going to go for it, man. Confirm X is 0. At least we'll be flying in the air potentially. Of course, the flying Fuseling is going to be the one with the target on its back. But for now, hopefully we can get that boost next turn with our 3rd mana. Just going to be Carrot Cake, get another 1/1. In desperate need of boosting their toughness, huh? And then also, if the opponent misses mana, that's terrific news. Doesn't look like they found their 4th. We found our 3rd, though. We will gladly call Goblin. No worries there, right? Dropkick Bomber. Okay, but there's the thing, right? When they do find their 4th, even if they don't, it could still be another split-up style deck. Well, then, at the very least, Dropkick Bomber gets to stick around. It'd be silly not to play that, right? See if they take the 6 here. I think it would be silly not to play that. But I am a little worried about getting all of these creatures on the board. Sometimes these mono white mid-range, they only have like Sunfall too. Or sometimes they only see Sunfall, which is actually a couple turns away since they missed their 4th. We go Caretaker's Talent, copy a 1/1, try to draw that 4th mana here, which I can imagine would be all too easy for mid-range. Uh-oh, guys, it looks like they might have missed it. Well, this is not how I like to win matches. Opponent, you can borrow one of my lands, especially if I draw one. I'll pass it over to you. That being said, there's still a chance that the opponent can pull this back easily as soon as they do find their 4th. So we'll see what we can pull off here. Virtue of Loyalty, they're going for it. I guess that lets them draw. But that also could have been a trick when we swung in too. Cacophony Scamp isn't bad, so we can go Mockingbird, X is 2, copy the Dropkick Bomber, have a pretty decent swing overall. Again, though, when do we play around this board wipe versus trying to push as much damage through? And I don't really know. I guess going Greed, especially while the opponent's missing mana, is the best thing we can hope for. All right, swing, swing, swing. It'd be a triple block into the Dropkick Bomber. So, yes, we swing with it. We swing. All the Fuselings have trample too. So if it's like double block a Fuseling, then they won't be able to take care of the Dropkick Bomber. They can chump it though. Okay, it is going to be a triple block, but then they don't have a chump into the Fuseling, so getting 9 through down to 8 is terrific news for us. Okay, they do actually still take the block with the Bunny Rabbit too. At that point, maybe it is going to be a board wipe next turn. Lose the Dropkick Bomber, but we get a bunch of oil counters on our Fuselings. All right, opponent, what you got, buddy? You got your 4th? I can't believe it, guys. I think they missed their 4th. Maybe they got it and they're thinking through their turn, right? This might be one of those scenarios where I've been losing so much recently. I was overdue for a victory, so I gave the opponent some bad luck this game, maybe. I don't know how much mana does mono white usually run? Mono white mid range. I feel like that's a 25 mana deck list, but I'm not 100% certain right now. Temporary lockdown. That's rough, man. Yeah. So, also, how come I didn't take care of that 2/2? Did I click through? When I applied the damage, did I just like straight up click through that? Guys, with temporary lockdown, I think they can still pull this back. I really do. I think we should be scared. We only have a swing for 2. Is it going to be one of those things where, just like the last game, if they have a double board wipe, it is what it is? Look, if we don't play around it, then we potentially have lethal next turn. If we do play around the board wipe, we only have 2 in the air. It's all too easy for the opponent to find some spot removal. All right. All right. Let's do... How do I want to do this? Red. And then Cavern for Cacophony Scamp. And then blue for the Unsummon. Potentially lethal on the board. Let's see if the opponent finally finds their 4th mana. Kind of on the edge of my seat, man. So if they miss their 4th and it's another lockdown, we still have the Dropkick Bomber, but we still have to figure out a way to push 7 through. Oh no. Okay, they got something. I can't believe they're missing their 4th mana this long. That is definitely unlucky, right? We go for the draw. They gotta find it this time. Opponent? Did they miss it? Okay, exile on the Scamp. We could unsummon. Or we could just unsummon the Knight too. Exile on the Scamp's pretty rough. I think I'll take care of their blocker. I guess. I don't know. That's 6 getting through. Let's see what we got here. It's mana off the top. Oh no. Okay, swing for 6. Play the mana. Did it really take the opponent missing their 4th mana for like 6 turns in a row? There's their 4th. I'm scared, bro. So something that we could have potentially done is unsummon the Cacophony Scamp, right? Instead of their 2/2, then Dropkick Bomber. Oh no, it's a day of judgment, guys. Oh no. Oh, Cacophony Scamp. Oh, don't get exiled, buddy. Don't get exiled. Opponent, you only have Get Lost remaining. That's the only thing you have left is Get Lost. 5th mana. Sunfall, no! Oh, Hordemaster, you are a couple turns late, huh? All right, we just gotta keep slamming things down and hope that we could push that one through. Dude, these matchups are gonna be rough no matter what, right? These mid-range or control matchups. But the deck list also has to prove to us that it can go fast enough before the opponent can actually do the thing properly. This game did not prove that at all, with the opponent hanging on for dear life at 3 mana and like successfully hanging on for dear life, right? Okay, they go flanker on their turn for something. Life gain in case we have burn in the deck list, right? Like if they don't know if we have Burst Lightning packed in, and if we top deck Burst Lightning, well, that doesn't, well, I guess that makes a little bit of sense, right? Because if we're patient with our Burst Lightning, until the last moment they drop flanker, and then on the stack of the life gain from the flanker, we would go burst lightning or something. I guess, right? Does that makes a little bit of sense? Soul Partition. Well, we have enough mana to cast that. Yeah, we definitely have enough mana to cast that, huh? So anyways, guys, again, the unsummon on the Cacophony Scamp to save it from the exile could have helped a little bit. They still would have had their 2/2, but then maybe the Dropkick Bomber would have been able to throw the other 2/2s in the air, because it was a Mockingbird Dropkick. So we could have put everything in the air that turn anyways to get around the 2/2 and still played the Cacophony Scamp back out of our hand. And then we drew into the second Cacophony Scamp as well. All right, guys. I mean, the opponent's at 3. I don't know how we're getting this damage through, but we do have hasty goblins in here, but I don't know how much. Oh, it doesn't matter. They have authority. I wasn't even paying attention that they have the authority of consoles. Crap, guys. All right, well, I guess we should probably concede, huh? Because we're at 29. The opponent is very far away from winning the game. Let's see what's off the top, then drop the concede, because I am curious to see what we actually top deck here. Getting the opponent down to 1 probably means I missed one somewhere, right? That probably means I could have optimized a play somewhere in this game to try to slip that 1 extra through. Oh, it's a reef off the top. Hey, good game, opponent. Oh, buddy. Let's see if we can actually do the thing here. All right, that one was actually the last loss of the evening, guys, huh? Now we're going to win 6 straight games in a row. Game, we don't talk about that game. Oh, man, that was brutal. And the whole time I was like, oh, no, poor opponent. Geez. Yeah, just the opponent having 3 mana, you would just assume like that's it, right? Like we're gonna be able to push through. They missed their 4th for like 5 turns in a row. I don't know how many actual turns they missed it, but it was a lot. And like they kept drawing too off the Caretaker's talent as well. Even a Monstrous Rage would have been simple enough to win that game. We got all 4 of those packed in, so right, we keep this. This is completely fine. Looks like we actually go first this time too, which is excellent news. Or essential news based on those other 2 games, huh? Did we go first in that first game? I feel like we didn't. That was a pretty early Day of Judgment. I feel like that was our turn 3, then they dropped Day of Judgment. I might be wrong about that though. All right, Fusing. What can you get done out there? Opponent says this land or this land? Or maybe this land. Ah, this land. It is a sewers. Okay. They keep on top. It's a mountain. Copying the Fuseling into the air is fine. Dragon Fodder is probably a little better for the turn though. Right, going wide because we have 8 potential boosts for our goblins packed in. So anything else in that last game to consider, guys? That last game, that's one to go back and watch and see what I can figure out there. See if I can riddle out how we could have pushed that extra one through. But also, if you guys saw it, definitely let me know in the comments. All right, another Mockingbird is all right here, but it's only going to be one of them for the turn. We might maximize damage with Monstrous Rage, but we'd still want to copy Fuseling first. We'll see if we're allowed doing that, because Fuseling's going to have a big target on its back. Well, then we'll probably plug the Monstrous Rage onto the 1/1s anyways. If they counterspell, that's not a terrible counter for us. Could be nowhere to run. Okay. So they don't want us to copy the Fuseling. That's okay. We can still give Mockingbird the Goblin title here, which isn't terrible, I suppose. And I will maximize damage because we're probably in danger. Like, big time. So while we can, while the opponent's tapped out, we just go for it, bro. Yeah, since Mockingbird is still a goblin, any of our 8 board buffs would be amazing. Hordemaster off the top would be golden. Chart a Course is not bad as well. Might do Chart a Course before combat. Could discard the other Mockingbird. Now we'll do it. We'll do it after, because I don't want to discard. And the odds of us finding something that we could play beforehand, it would have to be a land and a Hordemaster or something. But then losing the other Mockingbird would feel pretty bad. So let's swing for 5. See where the removal lands. Either they're going to value Trample or Flyers. They're going to value the 2/2s. But of course, your Slicer Goblin's pretty good, man. Get that Cacophony Scamp down. That's also pretty darn good, huh? 4th mana comes down. So after seeing the Cacophony Scamp, feels pretty bad that we dumped both Monstrous Rage down, right? But should be fine here. Let's go for that swing. See what happens. We're looking at the Searslicer Goblin and maybe keeping the Unsummon for protection. So decline. Hopefully the Scamp doesn't get exiled or something. Going wide and running right into a deadly cover-up would feel pretty bad. That's probably why... Yeah, Unsummon would probably hit the Searslicer. See what the opponent does, right? Let's see if they have that turn 5, a deadly cover-up. Mind Splice Apparatus. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy, they don't need their 5th mana now. Apparatus makes the deadly cover-up 4 mana. Experimental Augury. It could still be a board wipe, guys. They could find mana here. GG opponent. Wow, just overdue for a victory, huh? I mean, I said I was overdue for the victory in the last game, and we still ended up losing, so... So, you know what, opponent? I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry about that. Oh, man. So, overall, we're going wide quite effectively, right? Really like the Searslicer Goblin. This might be a 22 mana deck list, potentially. I haven't decided on that yet. I know that we ended up... I think we've been seeing a fair amount of mana in every game. What do you guys think? So far, I think we're at 21 mana total. I think that's probably where we want to keep it. But I could also see 22 right now, just like a gut feeling. We go first is great news. None of our 1-drops is fine. Not too many 1-drops packed in, unless we want to count the Mockingbirds as 1-drops too. Which is not necessarily what you want to do on turn 1 anyways. Get ready with that Hordemaster. I'd like to go up against some other aggro at some point. It's our plains. Case of the Uneaten Feast, huh? Alright, life gain could be a problem. Probably Squee over the Dropkick Bomber, because we'd probably want to go a surprise Dropkick, right? Like we go wide with the Squee. Another Case of the Uneaten Feast, guys. Rude Lurker Bat. Alright, we're going to have to push through some extra damage here. That's a great trade for them into the Hordemaster, but not a great trade into the Squee at all. So it's Squee for the turn. Just swing with the Squee. Yep, that's pretty good. I don't think they chump. They go down to 17, and then they gain a bunch back next turn, probably. Johnny's Pridemate. That's going to be chunky enough to block anything we got on the ground. Might send some stuff into the air, but I doubt it. This Plains didn't do anything. That's good news. Could still successfully swing on the ground here, and the block actually might be the Squee over the Hordemaster. We see more off the top with the Hordemaster too. We could eventually bring Squee back. Yeah, the Dropkick Bomber doesn't boost it enough right now. If we play that before combat and full swing, we get a lot through if it is the Hordemaster block. Still have the Scamp for the turn too. Hold on, opponent. I'm thinking, buddy. A lot of options here, man. Because also we could just swing with Squee and the 2/2, right? Then we'd have Chart a Course, draw 2, and then a Searslicer Goblin to continue to go wide. And then still a Dropkick Bomber for next turn too. That actually seems pretty good, doesn't it? Because we also see more off the Hordemaster as well. And going wide against this deck list is probably pretty effective, I would say. They also don't know it's in hand, so they could play around a Monstrous Rage, just take this damage, which would be really good for us, of course. That being said, we could have Chart a Course before combat and discarded one of our other cards. Well, you draw 2 first, then you discard. But either way, we could have tried to find a Monstrous Rage off the Chart a Course. I feel like optimizing how much we maintain in our hand is going to be a little bit better, though, because there's no guarantee that we find a combat trick at all. Block a 2/2. They don't let the Squee die. Still get to see something off the top. It was a Monstrous Rage. Well, I see how it is, Gabe. That's funny, dude. All right, let's go for... not entirely certain what it's doing with the auto tapper. I want to make sure we keep a blue source open just in case. Okay, another Searslicer Goblin. Not bad. Yeah, going wide. Let's see what they can pull off here. And going wide too, having chump blockers against the chunky Pridemates and stuff is pretty essential. But for now, I'm not even going to bother with chump blocks. We're going to take as much as possible since we're still at 19. This is a pretty good hand, man. If they start removing things, like, we can reestablish very fast. And then this Dropkick Bomber is going to be such a surprise for them too. They have a lot of decisions here too. We don't have any flyers in the air, but that probably means they do swing with the Ruin Lurker Bat. They get that life gain back. Nah, they should probably keep it as a chump blocker. Which means our Dropkick Bomber's bottom ability probably doesn't come into play like we would hope. Oh, Exemplar also works well, doesn't it? And that also gets some good boosts here. Oh dear. Okay, the draw ability is only once each turn though, luckily, huh? Okay, they do keep all the blockers back. A Fugitive Codebreaker is terrific. How do we want to do this, man? Fugitive Codebreaker and Dropkick Bomber is what I'm leaning towards now, because just another hasty creature is kind of disgusting. I'm pretty sure that's what we want to do. Just full swing, let the opponent decide where they want to pop things, right? Let's do this, man. Let's do this. Full swing. Let's see where their most optimized blocks are. So the chunkiest creatures on our board is our 4/4 Squee, 4/3 Searslicer, 4/3 Codebreaker. If they block those 3 things, the rest that's getting through is 11 damage total. It's really, really good blocks for them if they just go the chunkiest things. Because the Pridemate, okay, they're going to kill the Squee. They're going to kill the Codebreaker. They're letting us keep the Searslicer Goblin around, guys. So we get to continue to go wide here. This also means they're not blocking Hordemaster, so our board state is still relatively boosted. Down to 6. How much life did they gain so far, guys? Dropkick Bomber is actually going to have to be a chump blocker on the ground, huh? Because all they got to do is play a creature, and then we're in danger. So creature and removal for the Dropkick Bomber, we're going to die. We might die here, guys. Essence Channeler, there's the creature. All they need is to remove this Dropkick Bomber. They're back up to 9, too. Oh, no, man. Yeah, they got 18 on the board. Oh. Never mind. We're fine. We'll take that. I'll take that damage. I guess it could be, let's see, a 1 mana card, then like a lay down arms. Wow, GG opponent. I'm surprised, man. I am. Okay, we got the deck win rate back up to a 50%, but I don't know, man. It's probably going to balance right around there, right? Can we actually bring that up? Can we end on a high note? We're going to try. Let's do this. One more game. I'm losing confidence in the deck list as the video goes on, which is not good news, man. Well, we're going to have to take a look at it here in the final thoughts and see if there's anything I necessarily want to change, or I don't know right now. Like, we have really great lineups, really great curves. The blue cards that are in here are actually just freaking terrific blue cards. So I don't know what I want to change, but it feels like I should change something. I'm not 100% certain, though. We go first. Great. Awesome. This is good. Well, if we miss our third, though, no, we keep this. This would be a silly mulligan, right? I think it would be. Let's hope our Fuseling can actually get a swing through. It does not. It immediately gets cut down, which means that our Searslicer Goblin doesn't get cut down. And it's not like we hold this back in hopes that it can survive, right? That would be weird. Searslicer Goblin sticks around. I might keep the Monstrous Rage. Very Mastermind. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll play the Monstrous Rage then, right? Well, actually, I don't want to trade. I don't want to lose. How do I want to do this? I want to maximize damage. Luckily, it's trample damage. And then we don't want to trade. We want to bounce the Fairy Mastermind. So you get 5 through anyways. And then we create a 1/1. I hope that's okay, man. Because now we're tapped out. Oh, nice. Okay. Okay, well, now we know that they have the Fairy Mastermind. We're definitely in desperate need. I guess we start with the swing. With the 1/1. I don't want to trade into the Searslicer Goblin. Daybloom Trick. Okay. It's not removal, but they're going to tap our creatures so we can't attack. Oh, tap target creature. They don't tap both of these. So they'd want to tap our 1/1. But then they don't know if we have another Unsummon in hand, which we do, of course. So they do tap the, okay. Because, yeah, the 1/1's going to create itself anyways. So we still get a trade, but then our 1/1 comes back. X is 1 on the Mockingbird. Copy the Searslicer. That's pretty good, man. Now, mana off the top would be amazing. It is not mana off the top, but Cacophony Scamp is pretty good, huh? I think we just go full swing. They trade here. No, we swing. Okay. Right, we swing with... We keep this Searslicer Goblin as a generator. Enduring Curiosity. A lot of flash creatures from the opponent, but I'll tell you what, tempo plays, huh? Tempo plays. We'll bounce that before they block. Because I don't think they would... They might trade that into the 3/2 Searslicer. GG opponent. Wow. Wow, guys. We did all that with 2 mana. I'm actually surprised by the concede, though. Because they could pull that back. They could totally pull that back. Let's see. So they would have a block into a 1/1 again. Then 4 gets through down to 11. We generate 2 more 1/1s. Cacophony Scamp was going to have to come down. Yeah, missing the 3rd mana. There's a good chance that the 3rd mana is chilling right on top here. It's too bad we can't flip the deck over. That would be so nice. Ah, man, they really need to add that so you could see if the top card was mana, because then after reestablishing 2 more 1/1s, dropping the Dropkick Bomber, at that point, then I understand the opponent's concede, but they don't know what's in our hand is the thing. All right, guys, we're just going to end on a high note, dude. We got the deck win rate up to a 60%, but it's like I said, I was losing confidence with the deck list as time went on there. I don't think we'd be able to balance it at that 60%. End of video pack here. Let's see what we got. It's an urgent necropsy. Something like that. I don't know how many of those I have now. All right, is it goblins? Guys, I forgot to go over this in the middle of the video, but make sure you check out that description where we have that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too if you're interested in joining either of those up. Also, the YouTube stuff, huh? If you like the video, make sure you actually drop it a like. If you like the channel, consider subscribing because it really does help out the channel. So thank you guys. All right, is it goblins? Am I being too hard on this deck list? Like, we just ran into control and mid-range and it was scary, and then that one mid-range list had 3 mana for 22 turns. and they still pulled it back, man. That's got to be our worst matchup, I would say. When we're rocking cards that are goblins that don't mind when our other creatures die, like Fuseling or Hordemaster, right? And they're rocking a whole bunch of exile, and then the exile just leads into board wipes, and then those board wipes just lead into bigger board wipes. It's got to be our worst matchup. And I bet, you know what actually could have helped a lot in that matchup? If we had a Restless Land. Because we got them down to 1. Did they have a chump blocker after the fact? Again, that's a match, man. That's a match to go back and watch. Restless Spire. You can, it's just a blue and a red. It's pretty darn cheap as far as these Restless Lands go. Is it the cheapest? It might be. Just a blue and a red, power it up. It's a 2/1. During your turn, it has First Strike, which is kind of no joke. First Strike pairs well with Monstrous Rage and stuff for sure. Any boosts work well with First Strike, but still a land. When it attacks, you scry 1 as well. I'm very tempted by the Restless Spire. Since it's a deck list that just gets devastated by board wipes, Restless Spire could do a lot. You know when they didn't have a blocker? After the temporary lockdown, I don't think they had a blocker there, right? So Restless Spire could have done the thing, but that's the problem, right? You put a 1 of in the deck list, are you going to see it when you actually go up against mono white mid-range? Maybe. But a 2 of, you have a much better chance, you know? Maybe you'll see it out of like half of those games or something. Maybe. The problem is with the Restless Spire, the deck list is trying to go really fast. Of course, this just enters tapped just flat out. So outside of like if we dropped a Lighthouse for 2 Restless Spires, the Lighthouse is actually going to come down untapped way more than you would ever expect. Very, very often. It's going to be easy enough to get the opponent to 13 or less life. So this just ends up, this could easily be your untapped 4th mana, which could be essential to drop a couple 2-drops on the same turn or something. If it was Restless Spire in your hand, you're not going to have that. It's going to come down tapped. That's tough, man. There's going to be a really tough balance to be had there. I don't think I'm going to trade the Restless Spire in, but I'm very tempted by it for sure. Mainly because of that second game where the opponent was able to pull that back. And that's not going to be unheard of at all, guys. We didn't get unlucky at all. Actually, we got really lucky at the beginning with the opponent missing mana for that long. It's not going to be unheard of for those matches to just absolutely dominate. So is there anything else that we could consider for those matchups? Yes, and I hate to say it, counter spells, huh? We're rocking Izzet. We got blue in here. Counter spells could do a lot. You counter the Sunfall, means you get to keep your creatures, right? And that would start to lean this Goblin deck into tempo. What I really wanted to stick towards here is actually Goblin Aggro. So is it, but it's aggro, but is it Goblin Tempo? Tempo could actually help this out a lot, huh? So what kind of counterspells would we want to consider for this deck list? Well, we'd have to start to lean a little bit more blue if we go for something like 3 Steps Ahead. And 3 Steps Ahead would be cool as a, could be a potential late game 4-drop where you copy one of your other goblins. And we saw that our goblins love to be copied. It's really freaking sick to copy Searslicer or Hordemaster. And again, we didn't get to copy a Dropkick Bomber today, but it's this very similar concept to the Hordemaster. You start copying these and you're boosting all of your goblins that way. Mockingbird as a 3 of makes sense if you have 4 of them. There's going to be moments where you only have Mockingbird, and then that doesn't seem that great, right? The 1 of Cavern of Souls felt fine. The 3 of Dragon Fodder, the 3 of Chartercourse, the 3 of Unsummon. All these 3 ofs make a lot of sense. And when you're looking at a deck list like this, and I struggled to actually pack everything in that I wanted to have in, that's when you start dropping the 4 ofs, go down to 3, and they have to make a little bit of sense. And I think these ones make sense. Like, we don't need 4 of these. We don't need 4 of these. We don't need 4 of these. But 3? Yeah. That being said, Unsummon really came in handy in that last game, huh? It was great that we actually had 2 of them in hand. So I could see 4 Unsummons pretty easily in here. Depends what you want to drop, though, for it. Is this one to put on the Do Not Craft list? Probably, unless you already had goblins laying around, then you could give it a shot. But craft a little bit less based on what your collection looks like. Because if you don't have all the Mockingbirds, if you only have 1 Mockingbird, that's fine. Just play the 1 Mockingbird, you know? Go up that Unsummon that I was just talking about. That's just a common. At that point, too, you could go up the other Chartercourse, I guess, too, if you only had the 1 Mockingbird, right? Like, the 4th Chartercourse isn't really going to hurt. The overall Chartercourse felt a little slow for what the deck list was trying to do, but you're still going to need ways to restock your hand, and I think this is a great way to do that outside of, like, a Ren's Resolve or something, which is a similar concept, but you don't get to keep those cards forever. You kind of, like, you're not forced to play the cards off Ren's Resolve, but if you don't, you lost a little bit. You know what I mean? You lost a little bit of cards. I have a lot to say about this, man. The double Squee felt right, and that the double Squee actually pairs really well with the Chartercourse too, because even if you're not swinging for the turn, then Squee isn't a terrible discard, but also if you're discarding other stuff too, you're stocking up the grave to eventually recast the Squee as a 4-mana card back from the grave as well. And 21 land felt okay, but I'm still getting like that gut feeling like 22 could help the deck list a little bit. I don't know what I would drop at that point. I know one thing, I don't want to drop the Codebreaker. Card feels underplayed, and it also feels like we should have a few more of them in here. Codebreaker is also not a terrible one to copy with the Mockingbird either. For the prowess side of Codebreaker, what actually activates the prowess? A lot in here, right? Unsummon, Monstrous Rage, Chartercourse, Dragon Fodder. Of course, if you're doing Chartercourse, you'd want to do the Chartercourse before combat to boost the prowess, which, again, you're not minding too much that you're discarding here because at least there's some synergies. So what is that? That's 13 cards that boost the prowess. Yeah, that's enough, but maybe that's one of the main reasons why I opted for just 1 to begin with, right? Because it's not an incredible amount that boosts the prowess, but still really nice to have a hasty goblin, though. Squee's also a hasty goblin, but you guys know what I mean. More hasty goblins packed in. I would have loved to see the Exuberant Fuseling do a little bit more today, too. Guys, am I really not going to change anything here? I mean, I guess the deck list performed well enough, but it didn't feel like it. Maybe I'm being too hard on the deck list. Just another one where I'm confused, man. Yeah, overall, put it on the Do Not Craft list, but I would say it's okay to put it on the craft a little bit less based on your collection list, which we really need to rename. That is way too long of a name for a list, huh? Oh, man. Guys, let me know what you thought of the deck list down in the comments. Really like this concept of going, is it? So thank you again for the suggestion. It's really neat. And so something else too is, I forget, I think that the original suggestion, it's been a while. It took me forever to put this list together, man. I believe the original suggestion was specifically Goblin Aggro, right? Which is another reason why we didn't lean full tempo with counterspells and stuff. Oh, we got to talk about the counterspells real quick, guys. I don't know much about counterspells. It would have to be your counterspells of choice. However, I do think that you could go a long way with negate in a deck list like this. Like, can you guys think of a deck that you play against where negate misses? Because I can't. I can't think of a deck list that's just like creature, 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 creature. Usually everything has... Dude, where the heck is negate? There it is. There we go. Counter target non-creature spell. Honestly, this would be the type of deck list that would run Spell Pierce quite successfully. How does one spell Spell Pierce? We have to go to like Historic or something to show it. I missed this card, man. Spell Pierce, counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 2. It would be perfect in here. I hope this gets reprinted soon, actually, because it was one, like, I don't like playing counter spells very often, but this one, right, just works really well in certain tempo lists. Oh, man. Spell Pierce, I miss you, buddy. I miss you. And actually, Spell Pierce was one of those counter spells, like, my brain is still wired to play around Spell Pierce as well. Anyways, guys, your counter spells of choice, and again, like 3 steps ahead or something would work fine, but you might need to lean the mana base a little bit more blue too. And then you probably don't want to choose something like Long River's Pool. We're just leaning way too red for something like that. And there could be some tempo counter spells that are more budget that you could consider. Urza's Rebuff is one. This is a tempo counter spell that I feel is criminally underplayed, because if you're not countering something, you can tap 2 of their blockers. That's actually just really cool, dude, because we're trying to swing every single turn. So there's a budget counter spell that you could consider. But again, double blue, you might need to rearrange the mana base a little bit. 3 steps ahead is right here. That could be really cool in here, of course. I don't know how many of those counter spells you'd actually want to go up. And again, you'd have to completely reevaluate the mana base too. But I do think counter spells would have helped this deck list a lot today. So just something to consider, I suppose. Oh, also, if you go more counter spells, generally speaking, you need more mana as well. So not only are you leaning the mana base more blue, but you'd probably have to go a couple more mana too, 22 or 23 at that point. Okay, guys, enough rambling, huh? If you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. I can't believe we got this far and I didn't change anything. I thought for sure I was going to change something, but the more I look at it, the more I'm like, yeah, I guess it's supposed to do the thing right as it is. So, okay. Huh. Guys, I'll see you in the next video.